Good morning. Today we are going to do our letter Q alphabet book page. So let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and get a marker to write with, and you'll need your page that looks like this. On the bottom, let's go ahead and point to the uppercase Q. That's going to be the first letter that we trace. So start at the top, come all the way around with your circle, pull your stick through. The next is lowercase q. Circle first and pull your stick down with your hook. The next is an I. One line down with a dot. Next is S. Start at the top and curve it down. Next is F. We start with a hook first, pull straight down, then cross in the middle. Next is O. Start at the top and circle around. The last letter on this line is an R. We start at the top, pull down, come right back up with your hook. Let's point to the lowercase q on the bottom line. Let's get ready to write that. We start with a circle first, pull our stick down with a hook. The next is U. Start at the top, come down and up, and then pull right straight down with your stick. The next is E. We start in the middle, straight out, up, down, and around. Next is S. Start at the top and curve it down. Next is T. Pull straight down, cross in the middle. The next is I. One line down, dot the top. Next is O. Start at the top, come around with your circle. And our last letter is N. Start at the top, we pull down, come right back over with your hump. And the dot at the end we call a period. Go ahead and mark that. Very good. So our page for today says Q is for question. A question is something that we ask because we want to know the answer to. It's something that we don't know. So on the top here it says, if I could ask God any question, I would ask. So I want you to think about something that you would ask God. If you could see God face to face and you can ask him anything, it could be anything. It could be something silly. It could be something really serious. Something that you want to know and only God can tell the answer. So you'll need an adult to write that down for you. But in the meantime, while we're thinking, I thought it would be really neat to read the story about God. It's called God is Always Good. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way. There we go. So we can focus just on our story. All right. Okay. God is always good. So here's two bunnies. Looks like a little bunny and a mommy bunny. Mommy, what is God like? Well, she said, God is bigger than the mountains and stronger than the seas. And even though he's big enough to hold the whole world in his hands, he cares about you and me. But the thing I love most about God is that he's always good. And little bunny says, always? And the mommy says, yes, always. But how do you know that he's good? And mommy says, well, just look at this world around you and at all the good things to see. Playful puppies that lick your toes and bright, happy flowers that tickle your nose. God made this world and all your favorite things because God made everything that is good. And the little bunny says, did God make me too? Oh, yes, you are some of his very best work. God made you marvelous right from the start. He put the twinkle in your eye and the happy in your heart. He even put that freckle on your cheek. He thinks you are amazing, and God has good plans for you. But sometimes not so good things happen. Well, every day good things happen all over the world, but yes, bad things happen too. And it's okay to wonder why. These hurtful things aren't part of God's plan, and they make him sad too. So just remember that when bad things happen, God is there to help you. And Little Bunny says, does God make bad things happen? Oh, Mommy says no. God is perfect, but people are not. They make mistakes and choose to do things that are wrong. And that's called sin. And it causes all the sadness. And some sin is hard to see, and other sin is big and terrible. It causes wars and makes enemies. And when the troubles of this world start to worry you, be brave and believe this: God is bigger than any badness. He sure is. And Little Bunny says, but sometimes I still get scared. And Mommy says, well, everyone gets scared sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that. Just remember that God is with you, watching over you day and night. He sees every smile and every tear. He knows your every worry and every fear. God even counts the hairs on your head. You don't have to be afraid because God always keeps watch over you. And Little Bunny says, then where is God when bad things happen? And Mommy says, God is always there, right by our side. You just have to look and see him. He's with the police and the firefighters, so strong and brave. He's with the doctors and the nurses and the lives that they save. God sends people to help and to hug because when bad things happen, God uses his people to show his great love. And Little Bunny says, well, can I help too? Oh, Mommy says, of course, God wants you to help too. And the Bible tells you just what to do. Give hugs to the lonely and food to the hungry and tell everyone all about him. Because when you love others enough to help, God can use you to make bad things better again. And Little Bunny says, but it's hard to love people who are mean. Mommy says, yes, it is hard, but God wants us to love those not so nice people too. Sometimes you can be a friend and teach that person what is good and true. But if it's not safe for you to be a friend, then praying is the thing to do. Because when you let God's love shine through in all you do and say, God's love drives the darkness away. Sure does. And Little Bunny says, it's sad when people cry and are hurting. And Mommy says, we always want the ones we love to be happy and healthy and smiling. So when they are not, it makes us sad and breaks our hearts. That's when it's time to turn to God and tell him all about it. Pray for those who are hurting and sick. And then remember this, no matter how tough things may be, God is with us when we are hurting. He sure is. And Little Bunny says, I'm saddest of all when someone dies. And Mommy says, yes, it's so very hard when the people we love die. But for those who love God, dying isn't the end. It's a wonderful new beginning. In heaven, there's no crying, no sickness or sadness because God made heaven wonderful. Ooh, I just got the chills. That makes me so happy. I wish things didn't have to change, said Little Bunny. Why can't everything just stay the same? Mommy says, well, change is a part of this world and not every change is good. People lose jobs and friends move away and families don't always stay together. Things in this world change, that's true. But here's some happy news. You can always count on God because God never changes. That makes me feel better. Little Bunny says, is there anything God can't do? Well, Mommy says, there are a couple of things he can't do. He can't tell a lie, and he can't break a promise. And that's very good news for me and you. God promises he'll always be there for you, and you can believe it's true because God keeps every promise he makes. I love God for doing that. And little bunny says, so God really is always good? And mommy says, just look at the world around you and at all the good things to see. Sometimes bad things happen, that's true, but lots of good things happen too. And the very best things happened long, long ago when Jesus, God's very own son, came to save me and you, because God is always good. And there we go. Isn't that such a nice story about how God is always good? He's always there for us in good times and bad times. And I especially love the part about that God keeps his promises. He will always be with us. He'll never let us down. He'll never leave us alone. And all he asks is that we believe in his son, Jesus. Isn't that amazing? So terrific. So the bunny sure had a lot of questions about God. But your activity today is to ask God a question. So I really want you to think about it and ask an adult for help. And wouldn't it be neat to know what the adults in your house, if they could ask God a question, maybe they can tell you what they might ask him. So I hope you've really enjoyed this story today. And I hope you have a great time talking with your family about what kind of questions you might ask God. Okay, so I love you and I will see you soon. Okay, bye.